It's the debate as old as time. Should you be investing in the stock market or should you be buying real estate? Today I want to jump on and give my thoughts and experiences across investing in both and give you my insights as to why I prefer obviously investing in real estate versus stock market. So to jump on into it, there's a lot of information around the internet that really relate back to the American market and relate to the property prices and the historical performance of real estate in America versus the American stock markets. And as much as they are relevant, they're not completely perfect when you look at Australia in comparison. Looking in Australia in comparison, the real estate market has clearly outperformed the stock market in the last 20 years, and I think it will continue to do so. Put simply, we just lack those big international companies like the FANGs over in America, and this has really inhibited the stock market's growth over the last 20 years, and there's no real emerging big companies that I see that are going to really change that in the near-term future. So that's a big thing first off, that real estate has outperformed the stock market quite well in Australia, and this is quite different to when you look over in the States and their market over there. To move away from the performance side of things and move more into the practicality of building wealth in either the stock market or in real estate, I want to touch on some major points. The first one is a huge return on a little bit of money is still a little bit of money. What do I mean by this? Well, if you were to go out and invest $1,000 in the stock market and say you were to double your money in 12 months, that would be an amazing result. But you'd still only have $1,000. And in the economy we're in at the moment, it probably doesn't even get you a nice weekend away. Where if you were to put a lot of money into the market, and even if you only got a small return, that return is going to be quite sizable in the scheme of things. So if you were to put $1 million into the market, and you, let's say, get a 10% return, that's $100,000. So a great return on a small amount of money really doesn't equate to much. And that's the beautiful thing when it comes to real estate, is banks love lending against real estate. They're happy for you to 10x or even 20x your money in the market. And this really accelerates your journey of creating wealth. And that's my first big point around the practicality of investing in the real estate market versus stock market, is that the banks are so happy to leverage against real estate and let you borrow money, so that rather than investing a little bit of money, you can actually invest a lot of money in the market, and that's going to really drastically change your return over a period of time. The second big part of investing in real estate and the practicality of it is the tax advantages that do surround real estate. For your own home, for instance, that's a tax-free asset where you can't go invest in businesses and have that tax-free. So investing in your home, yes, there's an argument whether your home is an investment or not. That's a topic for another time, but there is some huge tax advantages. Even purely investing and buying rental properties in real estate, there's still huge tax advantages like depreciation, like the capital gains discount. I'd love to go into that in further detail in another video. So if you are enjoying this one, make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date with the new content I do bring out here. The third factor about real estate, and this is a big one, there's no recommended retail price on a property. What does that mean? Well, it means there's no fixed price of what something's going to sell for. Where when you go into the stock market, you've got a buy side of the trade orders and you've got a sell side of the trade orders. You can't skip the list, you can't get in before other people unless you are a sophisticated investor or unless you're doing some insider trading, which, as we know, it's a little bit illegal. Where real estate, you can absolutely buy a property before it hits the market. You can absolutely secure deals well below what they'd actually sell for if they were to go to market. You can buy properties that need just a little bit of polishing to get a far better return. You can buy properties that have got absolutely shit tenants in place that once you move them on, suddenly the property's worth an extra $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So there's ways in real estate where you can secure properties a lot cheaper than what they're actually worth, where these opportunities don't really exist in the stock market, as everyone really is on an even playing field. On this note as well, another big reason I love real estate is you can improve on it. That property that's got the shit tenant in place, you can move them on. That property that's looking a little bit dilapidated, quite often it is just a coat of paint, and that visual appeal of changing it from looking like one thing into another drastically increases the value And that's something you don't have power to do in the stock market. Unless you own the vast majority of shares and have a seat on the board, you're not going to be able to dictate which way that company goes leading into the future. Where real estate, you can control how it looks, how it's managed. With this all said, there is some big pros to the stock market. It is a lot more passive. You put your money in and it goes to work. Where real estate, I really believe you do need to be a little bit more hands-on with the management, a little bit more hands-on with how that property is being looked after to make sure you really maximize your returns. Where the stock market, like I say, you can put in your money and sit back and watch those dollars roll in. It's also a lot easier in the stock market to diversify your investment. Properties are expensive. Most investors stop at buying 2 investment properties. It's very rare someone goes past that level. So to actually have a level of diversity is very hard in property. Where with the stock market, you can buy into ETFs and buy a section of the market, and this really can minimize your risk. The final thing I want to talk about in regards to the pros of the stock market is it is so much more scalable than residential real estate. And this is why you see your big billionaires really promoting and really investing heavily in the stock market rather than going out there and buying little residential homes. Residential real estate is a great way to become financially free, but beyond 10, 12, 14, even if you got to 20 properties, beyond that level, it is a lot of work to manage those properties, to manage the property managers managing those properties, versus having CEOs and full corporate structures in place with these big international companies. So that's my thoughts on the stock market versus real estate, and why personally I think real estate's a better vehicle for those just wanting to create financial wealth versus your multi-billionaires. If you have enjoyed this video, we bring out heaps of content on the Australian real estate market and the Australian financial markets here in Australia. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you absolutely subscribe, as I love bringing out new content and I love growing this community that we have here. Thanks for tuning in and have a fantastic day.